How's everyone's holiday?
Really good. Really good. Got
That's
to see
good.
some
I
family.
like
That was nice.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. How about you? Did you get to do anything special?
Barbecue on Sunday, my brothers, and then yesterday just kind of really just took it easy. But it was a good relaxing weekend.
Nice.
Thank you for asking.
I got this special necklace from my niece yesterday. She made.
Oh, I love it.
It says "Best Aunt Ever."
I have my son made one of those for me when he was like I think 4 or 5, and I have it hanging from my car. So yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
it's my badge of honor.
I love it. I love it.
It's true too. I think.
Absolutely. All right. Do, do, do. You guys can see that, right?
Yes,
Cool. All right. So, Kyla, it's Kyla, right?
that's correct. Yes, kind of.
All right. Do you prefer Kyla Ann or Kyla?
Kyla's fine.
Cool. So you're a new agent with us, right?
My license, the ink is still wet on the license. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I like it. Cool. And Stephanie, can you hear me? I know you're on mute right now, so I want to make sure you're there with us. If not, I'm gonna continue. All right. So seller staging strategies. And I'm going to talk a lot about how you stand out from other agents in regards to staging, when to stage, when not to stage, who pays for staging, um, when you maybe you should pay for staging, which typically really doesn't happen, but there are certain circumstances where it is applicable. Um, so we're going to talk about perspective on staging, convincing your sellers to stage, options for the staging consult, evaluate the house, implementation, staging an empty house, right? We're talking about all that. So the benefits of staging. Staging is your ticket to getting your listing sold in a shifting market, which we're in right now. There is more competition than ever. Your listings must stand out. So let's talk real quick about that. So we're coming out of COVID-19, hopefully, right? And I believe, and so do some experts, that there's going to be a lot of listings available. And the reason for that is because people took their listings off the market prior to COVID or during COVID. And there's going to be people that are going to want to put their houses on the market right now, maybe because they can't afford it, because they lost their job, or they're moving, whatever the circumstance is. But there is going to be a mass exodus for listings on the market. And the agents that are prepared and ready are the ones that are going to get their fair share. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Staging is non-negotiable in many parts of the country. Agents like great looking homes. They are easier to sell. Buyers are looking for value. Staging enhances your reputation as an agent. So we do have some agents in the city and with our brokerage that stage their own houses with their own stuff. They've invested money into having their own furniture and pictures and all that stuff. But certainly that's not for everyone. There are some good staging companies in the city that do this. And certainly staging a house is really important to get the listing sold as fast as possible and for the most money, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what the seller wants and that's what the agent wants from a commission standpoint. Career growth initiative. I don't think we have to go too much into this because I don't want to confuse you. You're being newer, but CGI is, listings. It's the 3 L's, right? Leads, listings, and leverage, right? So without listings, you have no. Basically, leads are the most important thing that you can have, right? As a sales agent or in real estate, and I can tell you right now that if you're on, and for these percentages, if you're on a 70-30 ratio, 70% you have sellers and then 30% buyers, you're gonna be happy, right? Because out of listings, what do you get? You get buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like buyers take up a lot of your time. You have to go show homes, where listings take up a lot less time, and then you can basically double pop them, right? You have the listing, and then you can find your own buyer for the listing. So you're basically getting both sides of it. So the whole point of the CGI slide right here is that listings are leverage. Another thing is, this is a good thing for you to do, Carla, as you move forward. When we go through Ignite and go through Bold, you'll see this a lot. With, how many listing appointments are you getting? How many listings have you taken? Right? What's the wall of value is, what's your value proposition? Like, what do you offer as an agent compared to other agents? Right? And then
Excuse me.
the third thing is, how many closings do you have a month? Right? Listings versus buyers. And then the most important thing is, what's your net profit? So your split that you have with the market center, your expenses based on marketing, whatever you're spending, right? And then you should, you subtract that from what you made on your GCI, and that gives you your profit. We talk about gross profit, but really at the end of the day, you want to know what you net it, right? Your bottom line. I'll talk about this real quick because you'll see this in a lot of other trainings as well. The prisoner, the vacationer, the explorer. Basically, don't be a prisoner. That's someone that doesn't engage, multitask on the computer while I'm talking, right? On Facebook, sending text messages. And then the vacationer is, it's 85 degrees out. Instead of doing lead gen in the morning, let's go to the beach. Let's go play golf. And then there's the explorer, someone that's always looking to get better. I know for myself, I spend a lot of my time in my head, right, thinking on how I can one up myself, from yesterday. How can I be a better person than I was yesterday? How can I be a better leader? How can I be a better agent? And these are all things that, like, you should be asking yourself as you move along. Is like, what can I do? And I think for you, as a sidebar conversation is, associate yourself with the top 20% in the brokerage. Like, who can I talk to that's doing this business at a high level? And then let me take notes. Let me ask really good questions, and then let me take notes. And then that's how you're going to learn. So certainly myself and Brandon, we can definitely set you up with some agents that are doing this business at a high level. Does that make sense?
Very much. Yeah.
Yep. So, you know what? Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Just follow people that have done it at a really high level and just mimic what they're doing. Right. So convincing your seller to stage, not always an easy task. So obviously the first thing to do is get the listing, right? And staging can be a sensitive topic because it's going to be their expense, right? They're the ones that are going to have to pay for it. So how do you convince a seller to say, hey, listen, I need to get your house staged, especially when the house has furniture in it already? It's like, all right, well, if I'm the seller, I have a house where I have all this expensive stuff in here. I think it looks good. Who are you to tell me that I need to change things, right? And then there's scripts for that, and then closing objections, and then saying, hey, listen, you know what? I think your furniture is beautiful. I think it's great. I think if you can have an open mind for a couple of minutes and let me just tell you what maybe some quirks or some things that we could change to kind of make it more appealing to buyers. I've been doing this a while, and just through my experience, I've seen that making a couple adjustments in the situation might make the difference between selling your home at or above, or not selling it and being on the market. What would you prefer? And of course, they're going to say, well, I want to sell it at or over above asking in a shorter period of time. So once you get them off the defensive and having an open mind to actually, having their home, maybe change it up a little bit. It's harder when they have furniture in there. It's easier when the home there's nothing in there, right? So
that's
just
a pretty delicate conversation. Sorry, that's a pretty delicate conversation at times, correct?
It's definitely a delicate conversation, and you have to have the ability to connect with the seller, and have the trust. It's like, you entrusted me, to sell your home for you, right? I take that very seriously, and I know what people in this area are looking for. And if you can just take my advice and we change some things with your approval, I think we'll have a better chance of selling your home, and when you come at it from that place, they're more apt to say, you know what? All right, let's roll with it. And at the very least, you could use this, to say, hey, listen, I know you really don't want to spend the money. And if it really means that much to you, if the dollar amount of spending, $1,500, let's just say it's a $500,000 priced home, right? And if the $1,500 is really that big of an objection for you, what? I feel so passionate about this, I'm going to take it out of my commission. And sometimes the seller will be like, well, I don't want you to do that. Well, that's how strongly I feel that you should do this. And I always want to do what's right by my clients. And for that reason, I'm going to take it out of my commission because you feel really strongly about it. I have a fiduciary duty to do what's best for you. And I will tell you 8 out of 10 times, they'll say, no, don't worry about it. It's only $1,500. Just go, I'll pay for it. Right. So you could run into that. I ran into that before. Inform sellers that the return on investment will be higher with staging and that you will only recommend changes that promise a return for their time, effort, and money, right? We just talked about that. Give real examples. If you're a newer agent and you don't have examples, find agents that have examples. Like I'm giving you some examples right now. So just come prepared, and you as a new agent, Kyle, a broker once told me this, that you're not the expert, but you can be professional. So just remember that. And you have a team of people behind you, that are there to support and help you. So you can use that to your advantage. Like, yeah, I may have just gotten my license, but I have almost 500 agents in my brokerage right now that are behind me, and with the #1 real estate company in the country, that's my ammunition right there, right? So I want you to be able to use those metrics to your advantage. Gauge their reactions and adjust your presentation. So you're going to go in with like one presentation, but as you go through the consult, most likely it could change, right? Based on their reactions. You could be talking about staging and then just by the look on their face, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Right. And then stop. It's like, listen, I understand from the look on your face that you're not open to staging. What's your objection to it? Right? Ask the right questions. And then they'll tell you. If you ask the right questions, they'll give you the answers. And then depending on what the answer is, then you have to be prepared on how you're going to reply. So if they say, I don't want to stage, it's too expensive. All right, boom. You already know what the objection is, right? It's cost. Okay. And then what I would do from there is say, hey, listen, okay, let's say it's going to cost you $5,000 for staging. Okay. And your home right now, you want to list your home for $500,000. Okay. And then if we don't stage it, this is what it could look like. Your house being on the market for 60, 90, 120 days and not sell, which means we're going to have to adjust the price and bring it down. Right. So say it starts at 500, we end up, bringing it down to 450, right? And it sells at 450. Now, same scenario, we stage your house, list it for 500,000, and we sell the house within 30 days at asking or above. Do you think that $5,000 is worth it? Right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Again, it's just setting the expectation and being able to close the objection. Make sense?
Absolutely.
All right. Talk about what staging is. And I would even, if staging is something that, and whether they, at the end of the consult, they like the idea of staging or they don't, I'd have someone you partner with that owns a staging company, right? And we have a couple that we can refer out from KW Philadelphia. And then I would just say, hey, listen, would you mind getting on a Zoom call with my staging partner? And then give the staging partner, all the update on what's going on with the consult and all that, right? Fill them in and then get on a call. And it just shows you, how professional you are. You have a staging partner, and then they can go through homes that they've done and metrics and all that stuff, right? So again, use it to your advantage. You don't have to be the staging expert. Just bring someone that is. Give them printed information. So I come prepared, obviously, with collateral from the staging company. I just usually give them 2 and say, I work predominantly with this one staging company, but here's 2. And they're both pretty much priced accordingly. They're comparable. Supply a checklist for the process, right? So go through the whole checklist and then look for resources and other courses such as KW Ignite. So we talked about that before. Take a consultative approach, take pictures of cluttered and uncluttered rooms and ask yourselves which one they think buyers would like. So again, why you're doing this is you're asking the question, but you're going to get the answer, right? Because they're not going to say, they're not going to like a cluttered room, right? They're going to like an uncluttered room, right? So again, you're going to take the notes, and then when you go back to them and they give you objections to staging, you can use that. Say, well, when we went through your home, you said you like uncluttered rooms, right? Yes. Point out how much money they will lose by not staging. We kind of touched on that right now, right? And if you have metrics on homes that sell within 30 days or 45 days, staged and not staged, that's always a good thing, especially in that neighborhood or that area. And then learn new scripts and dialogues. There's tons of scripts. If you go to KW Connect and you put in staging scripts, there'll be tons of scripts in there. There's maybe close to 1,000 scripts in KW Connect. There's so many scripts. Agents from all over the country, the world, put scripts in there. But when you go, Kyle, because I know you're new, when you go into KW Connect, there's a queue there with a question mark. You put in staging scripts. There's a drop-down screen which says newest, oldest, and then there's a relevance on there. Make sure you put relevance in there because it'll go right to the scripts that are relevant to staging. Otherwise, you'll be like going through pages and pages until you get to what you want. Right? Set expectations, be diplomatic, right? So you never want to come in and it's your way or the highway, right? They're hiring you, and you just want to make sure that you guys, you both are on the same page, and see what the buyer's eyes, right? So this is a great tip. When you're having a consult with the seller, you tell them, hey, listen, you know what? I not only come in as you're as someone who's representing you, but I'm also coming in as a buyer who would be coming into your home through their eyes, right? To see what I would be looking for. So I'm coming at it from 2 points of view. And it's always good to say that because it gives the seller, it's like, you know what? I like the way, the agent is, or you are coming, are presenting yourself in regards to like the buyer's shoes and then your shoes. It's not just one-sided. Options for staging consultation, right? So here's the pros of doing it yourself. You spend more time with your sellers, enabling you to build your relationship. There's no monetary expense for the most part, and you have control over the finished product. Now, if you're someone who has a degree in interior design and really has a knack for setting up a house or staging a house, that could work. It'll work to your advantage. It's great, right? And then the cons is you become the bad guy, right? It may cost you more in time, which you could otherwise spend lead generating. So go back to you becoming the bad guy. So if you're going to do it yourself, right? It's all, if it doesn't work out, then, you're the one to blame. It may cost you more in time, which you could otherwise spend lead generating, right? And you may not have the skills or resources to stage different types, right? We talked about that too. So again, if you don't know this arena, then stay out of it. Hire someone that does, right? I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and it's something that I'm not good at, and I hire someone to do it. It's like a plumber. If you don't know how to replace a pipe, then why are you doing it? Right? Just hire someone, pay the $150 or $200 for someone to come and do it. Study the principles of staging. You can go to www.stagehomes.com, IAHSP.com, or QCdesignschool.com. Those are all good sites for studying staging. Prepare a checklist. Definitely come prepared with checklists for sure. That'll be part of your presentation. Develop a network of professionals for jobs such as painting, carpet cleaning, landscaping, all that stuff. Kyle, as you get through it, you'll definitely have your preferred. We have a vendor list. I'm sure you did. Tori give that to you?
The vendor list, not yet. No, I don't. Not yet.
All right, you'll get a preferred vendor list that we have that we've compiled over the years, and it's carpet cleaning, it's painting, it's home inspection, photography, all that stuff. Train your employees to do it. Pros, you can train them to your standards and have control over the finished product. Sellers appreciate a specialized consult. You don't deliver the bad news, right? And then the cons, depending on their role on the team, it may cost you more in time than pay a consultant. They may not have the skills. I'm not a fan of this because it's kind of out of your hands. You're having someone go and do it, you know, and you don't, that person doesn't have the same rapport with the client as you do. So I don't recommend this. Again, you know, they can shadow you, you can train them. I think it takes a while. It would take, you know, at least a year plus for that person to get to know how you want things and really, really be able to shadow you and feel confident that person can go to that client and not embarrass you and you know, be the professional like you are, right? So I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think that that person would have to work with you for a while. Use professionals, top-notch quality. Now, there are bad staging companies out there, so you have to be careful in who you do business with. You don't deliver the bad news. Homeowners react more quickly when a professional delivers the news than when the agent does. They have their own props, storing facilities, no overhead, right? Cons, you relinquish part of your received value in the eyes of your seller. It could be just the opposite too, where it makes you look like more of the professional because you're bringing someone in that really, really knows that arena. Covering their fees is an expense. So again, most of the time the seller will pay for it. There are certain times where you'll cover it just to get the deal done or get the listing. And you have no direct control over the finished product. Again, if you have all the faith in who you hired or who you brought in as a staging vendor, then you're gonna feel really good about it. Obviously, reputation. If I gave you guys a referral for a staging person, you can bet your bippy that that person is going to be top notch, best in the city, right? So it's just, if you're going to refer someone out, just make sure that whatever they're doing, they do it at a high level. Visit a listing currently on the market that was staged by someone, we talked about that, you're considering working with. Go over your expectations and the standards you expect them to achieve and maintain. Hire the stager for an hour of consultation after the listing agreement has been signed. Provide the consultation as a free service to the seller. Pay the stager a nominal fee, right? So if you're working with a really good stager, that stager is gonna go on a Zoom call. I say Zoom call right now because that's the world we live in, is go on a Zoom call with that client, and they're not gonna charge you a referral fee. They're gonna charge a fee for it. They're gonna do it because they want the business, right? So I would say disregard that. And just say, if you're going to partner with someone, they're going to get on a call and they're going to do whatever it takes to get that business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Evaluate the house. Review the property. Make the appointment to go through the home as soon as possible after the listing agreement has been signed. Sometimes I do it right there. If I set the expectations from the call, and I'll say, listen, I know that I'm coming over on Tuesday at 5 o'clock to do a listing consult with you. If and when you choose to hire me as your agent, if you do decide to hire me, I would love to go through your home, and just do a property evaluation. Would you be able to have a 45 minutes to an hour to spend with me? So I set the expectation prior to going on the appointment. And for some reason, if they have to think about it, you can't close it to get the listing contract signed, then you obviously save it for another time. And honestly, I actually asked to go through the property before when I get there. I said, listen, you know what, can we just walk through your home real quick? I want to get an idea of what your home looks like. And I'll just do a quick walkthrough and then sit down and do the consult. Ideally, review the property when the sellers are not at home. The evaluation will go more quickly. That doesn't always happen, right? If it's a property that's vacant, that would apply to that. Start by evaluating the curb appeal inside the home. Look at the layout and determine where extra furnishings can be distributed throughout the house. Note rooms that are painted bright colors or have strong wallpaper that won't have mass appeal. Note clutter, imbalance, and light. Check flooring for wear or bad color pattern. Check ceilings, baseboards, windows, and doors for cracks, right? So, I mean, you don't have to be a general contractor, but if you go in and you look at a window in a bedroom and it has cracks all over it, and then you see what looks like steam in between the panes, that means the argon gas is out of the window, and that, you know what, probably going to have to replace that window, right? So at least you know that off the top of your head, and I would make notations to that. And as as you get more experience, you're going to learn different things, as you go along. So I wouldn't spend sleepless nights worrying about all this stuff, right? But certainly, just know the basics. I make your recommendations. Email the recommendations to the seller within 24 hours. Really important, really, really, really important, right? As soon as you have the recommendations done, get them to the seller, right? And then set up a time to go over the recommendations with them as soon as possible. And then once you have that conversation on the recommendations, do a calendar invite to show each stage and deadline, a list of your subcontractors. Make your recommendations, hold yourselves accountable. So if you have a deadline on each thing, right, you have to hold your sellers accountable, because if they go past the deadline and they're not home, or they don't, for whatever reason, it's just holding up the process of getting the home on the market, right? So every day that's not on the market, it's one less day that they can sell their home and get to where they want to get to. You can formalize this arrangement in the listing agreement in the section titled Special Provisions. Leave the date blank and write this phrase: the listing will go on the market and in the MLS on the date the agent determines the house is ready. Right? Really important. Because remember, you're the professional. Implementation. Any questions so far?
No. Well, when you're doing how much time do you normally spend doing a walkthrough? Not like the quick initial walkthrough, but when you're doing your staging walkthrough, approximately how much time do you spend?
Depends on the size of the house, and depends on what problems there are in the house, right? So if it's a house that's like congested, there's clutter, and there's problems that you see visually, it could take you an hour, and then it'll take you another hour probably just to do a recap,
right?
But if the house is clean, it's well maintained, and there's really not much stuff in there, probably like 20 minutes to a half hour.
Okay, thank you.
Overall considerations: declutter, clean, maintain, and repair, create an atmosphere, right? Entryway, living room, kitchen, master bedroom, and also outside too. So when you walk into a house, right, the visual of looking at a house, landscaping, lack thereof, the porch, whatever's there, if it's a single family, right? One of the key skills of a successful real estate agent is mastering the basics of how homes should be presented and staged properly. It's huge, really, really huge. Simple staging, consultation versus extensive services, right? So simple: remove clutter, clean, paint. Paint can make a world of difference. Rearrange furniture to create space and flow. So if you're in a home that just needs a coat of paint and just move some things and just clean it up, that's an easy fix, right? Extensive, which means remove clutter, clean, paint, rearrange furniture, home repair, new flooring, windows, upgrade kitchen features, staging. That's where staging comes in. Make sense? Pets. This could be a sensitive one too, right? People have cats and dogs, and some people have other wild animals in their house. Just being, cognizant that if you have cats, make sure the litter's changed in the cat box, making sure that it doesn't smell like cat dander in the house, right? Because people have allergies. So, when they set appointments in the MLS, make sure you put in that they have pets. So the buyer's clients, the buyer's agent can advise their clients that, hey, if you're allergic to pets, they have a dog or they have cats. And then small children need to select their 3 favorite toys and put the others in storage. I I can speak from experience. I have about 1 million toys in my household, my kids. So, you know, one thing I would do is, again, just have a couple toys out and put the rest away, you know, store them. If you have teens, if they have, you know, the photos of their celebrities on the wall, you know, have them take it down. You know what I mean? So less clutter, the better. Overall, make a good first impression. Paint or replace the front door. Make sure the doorbell works. Obviously, if there's a doorbell, clean and polish all hardware. Replace if there's doorknobs, kick plates, or whatever. If there's no kick plates, put one in or put some in. House numbers are really important, both on the house and maybe on the mailbox or on the curb. I've seen it, you know, a house number plate that's in the garden that you can see the house number on there. Buy a new welcome mat, put potted plants next to the door, repair cracks on paving, on stairs, clean windows, keep entry swept and clean. Like these are all things that they should be doing anyway, right? You don't need a stager for this. Decluttering and cleaning. Decluttering and cleaning are the two most important steps in staging. Keep on track through the use of checklists available in this guide. Again, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Just declutter, right? And you guys just use your common sense when you walk into a home. If you see stuff all over the floor, you know, just make a recommendation to making sure that things are tidy and clean and put stuff back kind of where it belongs. People, there's some hoarders out there. So that's going to be tough, some tough conversations sometimes, you know, and if they want to sell their home in the quickest amount of time for the highest amount of price, then they're going to have to do these things. So from baseboards to ceiling fans, I mean, everything's got to shine, right? Everything's got to be clean. The windows, the ceiling fans that have to be dusted, right? To the molding, just everything. And then listen, if they don't have a cleaner, and I mean, I've done this where I say, hey, listen, I recommend getting just a one-time cleaning in here before we put the house on the market. Get it nice and clean if you're too busy. And if it's a listing that you haven't had the contract signed, listen, I'll pay for it. I'll have a professional cleaner come in here and clean the whole house for you from top to bottom, right? Oh, really? So, you know, that's another thing that you guys can do as well, right? It's not expensive. It costs you $300-400. Maintenance. Cluttering will make the need for maintenance and repairs more obvious. Depending on severity of the work that needs to be done, yourself may want to call on subcontractors, right? Set the mood, music, lighting, fresh smells, props. And last but not least, keep up appearances, right? Give them a checklist to follow so they will be able to quickly and easily maintain the stage look. So just because they come in and stage the home doesn't mean the following week it's still going to look the same, right? So especially if they're living in the home. If they're not living in the home, that's one thing. But even if you know it's a vacant home and you have it staged, I would come in after people, like say you get 5 or 6 showings. I'd come in like the next day and just make sure that furniture is not moved. Everything's where it's supposed to be. Make sure there's nothing missing from there. And then if it's people that are living in a home, just make sure that your sellers know, hey, listen, you know, I know you got kids, things are crazy, people move things. Just that when after our showings, just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be, right? All right, questions, comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
A couple slides back, you had talked about before keeping up the appearance. It was about certain things like scents or, you know, keeping things polished. Do you have any scents, like, I don't know if it's candles or whatever, something in mind that encourage people to want to buy? Like I've heard of people maybe baking cookies so that the kitchen smells like cookies.
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly baking cookies or a cake or certain candles, sometimes candles can work against you. You know, if there's a certain candle that does just a buyer doesn't like the smell of it, could turn them off, right?
Right.
But certainly baking is a good thing. I would tell you, don't make a dinner that has like a bunch of different spices and in it that could turn someone off. You know what I mean? Or if you're cooking steak and the whole house smells like steak, I would stay away from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But certainly like the cookie thing is a good thing. Absolutely.
Okay. And then I had one more question.
Yeah.
About curb appeal, which I know in Center City it's a little different.
Yeah.
My mom is an interior designer, and I always have her in my head talking about curb appeal and curb appeal.
Yeah.
At what point does the seller, or that can sometimes add up or cost some money, especially if you're going to be planting shrubs or flowers or anything like that. How does the balance of that pricing go typically?
In regards to like putting plants and stuff up there?
Yeah, as far as the interior and exterior staging, as far as importance, what do you think of the importance of the outside of the exterior?
I don't think it'll hurt. I think if you put 1 or 2 plants up there, I think it's a good thing. So and what, you talking about 15, 20 bucks?
No.
To put like 1 or 2 plants up by the doorway.
I mean, yeah, or a lot of houses don't have any plants, and sometimes having some flowers or big bushes there could.
I think it can only help you, not hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it. Any other questions? Cool. If you guys have any other questions after this, you can reach out to me at chris@kwphiladelphia.com. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Great.
All right.
This has been great. Thank you. This has been
you're welcome.
really helpful. It's nice
Good.
to meet you.
Yeah, you too. I look forward to seeing you in the near future. And you guys have a great week.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.